What's up guys, this is Kyle from Vapor Hut, driven by you, fueled by vapor, and today I'm going to be walking you through how to set up and do a nickel build on your Aqua FX. So without further ado, let's dive into a close-up and check out the Aqua FX by Footoon. Alright, so here's the box that the Aqua FX from Footoon comes in, and inside you will find the tank and replacement glass. Now the glass that's pre-installed on the tank is a 3 milliliter tank, and the replacement glass is a 5 milliliter tank, so you can decide how much juice you want to hold in your tank at one time. Inside the box you will find a bag full of replacement O-rings, another bag with a rod, a key, and an extender, and I'll show you what all of these are for in a moment, and a smaller bag with a replacement atomizer and a small sheet of cotton. And last but not least, the user manual. Now if you just picked up an Aqua FX, you are going to want to hang on to this user manual. One side of the user manual talks about how to rebuild the coils, how to wick it, how to prime it. That I will be showing you how to do today. And the other side of the user manual has a diagram of how these parts go together. And as you can see, this is a fairly complicated tank. So here's the tank itself, and this is made out of medical grade stainless steel and glass. And then the drip tip is made out of Ultim, which is very similar to PEEK in that it's high heat and chemical resistant. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is take this tank completely apart so you can see all of the pieces involved here. And after you take off this bottom plate, this is where that key is going to come into play. There's two little sides there that are just going to pop right onto there, and then you're going to unscrew that. Alright, so here are all of the pieces of the Aqua FX. Alright, so let's see how you put this back together. First thing you're going to want to do is take the atomizer housing and the 510 positive pin and drop that inside of the housing, like so. Then take your atomizer, which as you can see is symmetrical, either side is exactly the same, and then you're going to drop that into the housing. And as you press the atomizer in, you should see the positive pin come out. And then take this little top cap to the atomizer housing, and this Footoon calls the anti-particle system. Basically it's an anti-splashback guard. And you're just going to screw that onto the top here. And now your atomizer is ready to go. Then what you're going to do is take the bottom piece that has the Aqua FX logo on it and your atomizer and put the atomizer up from the bottom. And then take your key and screw that into place. And once that's tight, you can take your bottom plate with the hole in it and screw that onto the bottom of the tank. Now that we have the bottom half of the tank put together, we can go ahead and take the top part. Now we can decide whether we want the 3 millimeter tank or the 5 millimeter tank. So if you want the 3 millimeter tank, you don't need to do anything different. You're just going to take this piece, pop your tank right in there, and then take this top piece and screw it down like so. And then this will thread on top of our atomizer. Now if you want to use the 5 milliliter tank, what you're going to need is the chimney adapter. And this chimney adapter will just screw right into this chimney, and now we can take the 5 milliliter tank and put it onto our Aqua FX and then screw on this top cap. So once I choose what size glass I want to use, I'm going to take this top part of the tank and screw it over the atomizer. And once you install the top half of the tank, you'll notice as you tighten that part down more, you will slowly cut off this airflow here at the bottom. If you keep going, you can close it off completely. Not that you should vape with it like this, but it does help to reduce any chance of spilling or leakage. Now, as you can see, we're still missing some parts. So the next thing we're going to want to install is this little triangular piece here at the top. That will just screw right in. And under this is where you fill the tank from the top. That we'll do here in a moment. And the last set of pieces are the drip tip. I don't know why these come apart, but there's a little metal insert that pops into the top of the drip tip, and this is made of Ultim, and then the drip tip pops into the top there. And that is the Aqua FX. Alright, so now for the fun part. That extra atomizer that came with the Aqua FX, we're going to take this apart and we are going to replace the wire that's in there with some 26 gauge nickel so we can use our Aqua FX on temperature control. Alright, so this is what the atomizer looks like for the Aqua FX. As you can see, there's no threading. You don't screw this atomizer into anything, you just place it into that little atomizer housing. And basically what happens is that positive pin that you drop in first to the atomizer housing makes contact with this C-ring on the outside of this ceramic frame. And then the top cap of the atomizer housing makes contact with this C-ring on this side of the metal frame for the ground or the negative side of the connection. So the first thing we want to do is just unwrap all of this cotton. You're just going to go ahead and unwrap it. And you will get to a point where it goes under the ceramic, in between the ceramic and the coil itself. Alright, so once you get to this point where the cotton is going under the ceramic, what you're going to do is take some tweezers and just gently pull out that cotton. And there is our coil. Now what we want to do so we can get this coil out and put in our own is pull off these C-rings on either side. So all you do is find one of the lips and just kind of pull out with your nail. And there's one. And there's the other. And once you pull those off, your coil will just fall right out. So here we are. This is our build deck, if you will. Alright, so once you've taken the coil out of the ceramic frame, taken off the C-tabs, then you're going to take that rod that comes with the Aqua FX, and this is what you're going to wrap your coil around. So I'm going to be using 26 gauge pure Ni200 wire from the Master of Clouds. So once you have about 6-7 inches of that 26 gauge nickel and your rod, this part is key. What you want to do is start with the wire on top, and you're going to make a sharp 45-degree turn with your wire. So it should look like that on top. And then we're going to go ahead and do our wraps. I'm going to shoot for about 9. And wherever you did that 90-degree turn on the one side, you want to do it in the exact same placement on the rod on the other side. So I'm just going to go down here and give that a turn. I'm going to check it. That looks pretty close, and I'm going to go ahead and squeeze this wire together because it definitely won't fit that spread apart. Alright, so once your coil is wrapped, we're going to go ahead and slide the rod out and take our little ceramic frame, and with those little notches on top, we're going to drop our coil into place. And at first your coil is not going to fit very well in that frame, but try and get it as close as you can, and then you're going to stick your rod down the center and just try and push the coil in so the rod can go through it. Alright, and once you've got the rod through your coil and one of these leads in that little notch, we're going to go ahead and take one of those C-rings and now just press down that wire so you can get the C-ring up and over. And now you're just going to pop that on to that side of the ceramic frame. Alright, so one side is secure. Now what I like to do is take a flathead screwdriver and just push these wires closer to the side we just tightened down, so this side has more room. Alright, so once we've got this lead in that little notch, we're going to take the other C-ring and slide it on. And now we've secured our second side. At this point, what I like to do is trim my leads, so I'm just going to take my clippers flat to the C-ring and trim off the excess wire. Then what we're going to do is remove the rod, and you should be left with your coil in the center there. And if you need to tweak it up at all, you can just take your flathead and kind of move the wires around a little bit. But as long as none of them are touching, we should be good. Now the last step of this process is wicking this coil. So I'm going to take a strip of Japanese Shishido cotton and I'm going to cut it to the same width as the coil. Alright, so once the width of the cotton has been cut to about the width of the coil, what you're going to do is peel off the paper side of the cotton. And today, this is actually all we're going to use. We're not even going to use the cotton inside of the sheet. So once we have our strip of cotton paper, we're going to slip one end in between the ceramic frame and the coil itself. What I like to do for this process is just lightly with a flathead screwdriver shove the cotton under that ceramic frame. And once you've gotten enough through so you can pull it, you can just go ahead and give it a gentle pull. And you'll do this twice to make it all the way around the coil. Alright, so once you've gotten your cotton under 2 of those ceramic pieces, so it's made its way all the way back around to the beginning, you're just going to shove that cotton in there and take the extra cotton and wrap around the entire atomizer. And there we have it. That is our nickel atomizer for the Aqua FX. So now we're going to take out that pre-installed atomizer and pop in our new nickel atomizer. Put our top cap on. And when you prime this atomizer, you don't have to do it inside of the housing. You can actually just go right through these holes on top and just kind of put it on an angle as you do that so it doesn't all just leak out the bottom. Once you've primed your atomizer, we can go ahead and put it back into the tank and tighten the top of the tank all the way down so you close off your airflow completely. And to fill the tank, what you're going to do is just unscrew this piece of metal underneath the drip tip and stick your nozzle right there on the side. And make sure the airflow is closed when you do this. That way, once you're done filling and you unscrew to open up the airflow, you'll create a kind of negative pressure that will allow for proper wicking without flooding the tank. About there is fine, and then all you do is screw back on the top piece. And we'll go ahead and screw the tank onto our Rouleau RX200. I love the color matching there with the Aqua FX, looks super cool. And then before I do anything, I'm gonna lock my ohms, coming out to 0.1, which is about right. I'm just gonna open up that airflow a little bit. And as you see, bubbles will rise up as you unscrew that airflow as juice quick enters the atomizer. So that's how you rebuild the Aqua FX atomizer with nickel. So that's how you set up and do a nickel build in the Aqua FX. If you guys want to see a review on the Aqua FX, just go ahead and click on this link. Otherwise, this has been Kyle from Vapor Hut, driven by you, fueled by Vapor. Have a great day, guys.